Alrighty. Night before Walpurgis. I suppose I should do something for the newbies as well. This will probably be a relatively short video, but you've seen the title already. Compared to last time, where it was a ranked list of stuff you need from Walpurgis, this time round I'll be giving some priority rankings while letting you know the general use of each. As such, rather than going in ascending order of usefulness, let's just cover things in release order. The first Walpurgis Night. Lobotomy E.G.O Regret Forced is an AoE tremor merchant that can be built around to inflict a wide variety of strong debuffs as well as plenty of tremor. With the help of support passives that allow her to gain more tremor count, she can abuse higher attack weights on her skill 2 and 3 to share around a lot of pain. Notably, she inflicts plus coin drop and has a team-wide defense down debuff upon tremor burst. She does, however, have little in the way of power gain and relies on clash power from her passive to clash things out, making her one of the more difficult to justify using in more modern content. However, if you just need AoE tremor application, she is the way to go. Faster Force for Everlasting have far higher priority though. She is a fun ID to use, but is otherwise low priority. The new Force will likely outshine her a fair bit, if only for coming out almost 3 years later. Hook offers Honglu. Tie-in is from a bloody canard reception, and Hongers has several far better bleed IDs at this point, several of which coming from this season alone. The fellow will spook your rolls and turn your screen green, giving you false hope. For that alone, he should be low priority. If you're watching this video and don't have either the Ring Nurse Father or S-Corp Chinook-kun, those are easily better options to fill these days. The Chinook-kun, you only have a few more hours to grab, so get grinding if you want to throw a budget Hongers on a bleed team. This fella, though, has zero priority. Rather, you'd be pissed if you sharded him. Regret Merceau. This E.G.O is one of the single things that has warped Merceau's identity design for the longest time. It grants almost global coin power for a needlessly cheap cost, and has some utility in also providing tremor count. This thing is exceedingly high priority to use on almost any game plan that focuses on beefing up Merceau for Giga Chad power and damage. Plus 2 coin power on anything is already stupid. Plus 2 coin power on top of final power, base power, or god forbid more coin power is just plain disgusting. High priority if you plan on using any Merceau, even higher priority with Canto 10 around the corner. Though due to circumstances in the intervallo, he may be unavailable to field at first, which would be funny. Moving along to the second Walpurgis. Meet Lantern Dawn is another one of those you hate to see the color green, because she is a 00 ID. However, she comes with some level of usefulness in Rupture setups wherein you need to stabilize low amounts of count. If you don't wish to abuse the Heishos and their lord, she gets upgraded to a staple even. Regardless, she exists mostly for that purpose of being a cheap Rupture count merchant and little else. Low priority since she will inevitably spook your rolls. Even lower if you don't plan to have fun with Heisholess Rupture or any other kind of Rupture plans. The clashing is god-awful at times, and there isn't much fixing that outside of going unopposed. Curse of being a 00, I guess. Lobotomy E.G.O Magic Bullet Otis, the ID not the E.G.O. This one is a burn staple, but kind of a wet noodle on her own. Her entire claim to fame is application of a debuff called Dark Flame, that of which lowers defense level and amplifies burn damage as pride damage instead. On her own, she is quite clunky due to the way her bullets stack up and having a weird soft cap at 4, needing either external help to function later on, or for her to awkwardly stand there waiting for a skill 3, or spam her defensive skill to get to higher magic bullet stacks. On her own, she is low priority, around moderate I suppose if you just want any Dark Flame application at all. But if you have the resources to shard her, and the relevant E.G.O that we'll cover later on, she becomes one of Burn's very best payouts and thus moves up to high priority if you can get both. Now for the third Walpurgis. Dawn offers Fixer Sinclair is stupid high priority if you are rolling this Walpurgis. If you want to get use out of around a third of Uniforce and Salvador Gregor's kits, those being assist attacks and Philip specific upscales, you need to get this guy. While he is a bit of an unreliable sanity yo-yo, all the buffs coming to the fellow from the fixes at Dawnbreak turn an already quite functional unit into a borderline broken one. Being able to double up on Blazing Strike, as well as activate Burn on a burn count healthy skill, is bloody insane. I'll cover more about his upscale tomorrow with the inevitable 9th Walpurgis video, but yeah, if you manage to roll any of the 2 new IDs, this fella's priority goes up significantly higher. Otherwise, he's a fun unit to use and not as high priority due to having some solid replacements soon. Pick him up if you want to get the whole Dawn office and squeeze every last bit of capability out of them. The other two this time are E.G.Os, both in bleed territory. Ishmael's Wingbeat is relatively low priority due to use case. It's an E.G.O if you enjoy gambling for damage and reset heavy playstyles. Notably, if you are a speedrunner or railway enthusiast, this thing will be your best friend and worst nightmare at the same time. It's an insane reroll based E.G.O that lets you stim up gluttony fragility and deal out a stupid amount of bleed potency with any luck. Due to how competitive Ishmael's He slot is, however, this is usually sidelined for better stuff. Low priority. You are getting this via Spook or sharding it if you have a specific use case or know what you are planning to do with it. Otherwise, not really worth your time and effort to go out of your way for. Rodya's Sanguine Desire, on the other hand, is significantly more useful in pretty much patching up any bleed plan that doesn't involve the ring. While the new ring IDs have made bleed a lot more stable, this thing works as perfect stability from the turn you can pop it. Previously, I would have put this one as one of the single highest priorities, but if you have a lot of the seasonal bleed stuff this time around, I would be a little more hesitant in rating it quite so high, since it acts as a win more button that doesn't exactly make you win that much more in comparison. Rodya doesn't benefit from the passive as much as you think she would, due to a lot of her bleed application being locked away in weird status effects instead. See Mold Color Rouge, for example, on the Docent. Her skills themselves don't actually have high bleed application on their own. Thanks to the new ring fellas though, this can shift down to moderate priority if you have them, but remain high if you don't. Onto the fourth Walpurgis, we're looking at my first one. Lobotomy, E.G.O, Red Eyes, and Penitence Roshu is a cool charge bleed ID that doesn't really do much special in either. She's something of an all-rounder that offers some decent damage, okay support, and is largely self-sufficient. She operates better on a bleed or charge battery focused team to stack up nicer, but otherwise is there to build up charge, slam serious skullbusters, and profit. It is worth mentioning that her support passive is quite good, if only for NV teams, and otherwise she does have access to some useful debuffs in bind and attack power down. If you like the whole spider theme that Ryoshu has, go for it I suppose. I used her as a thumbnail for the last time I did one of these videos. Low priority, I wouldn't go out of my way to shard her these days. The other two though, one fella is about to get a massive upscale. Lobotomy, E.G.O, Solemn Lament Yi-Sung is one of Sinking's major payouts in Butterfly. He exists to clash, stuff enemies full of butterflies, and watch them melt away due to Sinking and Departed stacks converting into gloom damage. The new Solemn Lament E.G.O only boosts his consistency further in offering him more bullets, discard, and SP heals, all of which offsetting his major weaknesses. If you end up with the butterfly minigun, this fella skyrockets in priority, if only due to all the major effects he receives in return for riddling his opponents with holes. High priority, non-negotiable, get this guy if you want to have any fun with Sinking for the near future. While the new E.G.O lets Riensung apply Butterfly too, it won't be anywhere near close to what this classic fella has to offer at this point, at least for pure Sinking game plans. As for Gregor's Solemn Lament, this one is 8 coins of payout to either Sinking or Rupture, depending on how you slice it. It's a lot of damage, very fun to use, but otherwise not the highest priority. It offers the same butterfly sinking plan that Yi-Sung would, but unfortunately goes lower in priority thanks to the new E.G.O coming out. Gregor does have nice sinking IDs to place this on however, so consider it low to moderate priority I suppose. It can erase some encounters in style, but with the new stuff coming out, is being thrown out of a job to an extent. Still a fantastic finisher. The fifth Walpurgis Knight offers a synergistic duo and an essential E.G.O. Magic Bullet Otis is the paired E.G.O with, well, Magic Bullet Otis. It offers a way to turbo up Magic Bullet stacks faster and has 7 unique patterns of fire, all offering different applications of Dark Flame. Compared to the ID, this is a lot more consistent but costs E.G.O resources to get going. It is, however, so ridiculously reliable that it is arguable that this has higher priority than the ID itself. If you have to get 2 things from the WalPP dispensing, I'd probably nab these 2 if you're an enjoyer of burn. This thing just fixes so many issues all in one, and is pretty damn cool to look at to boot. In actual use though, you are aiming to try and slam the 5th or 6th bullet variations, and maybe the 7th if you want to execute things a specific way. Full Stop Heathcliff is one of the hardest hitting IDs, while he still has bullets at least. Half his kit is single coin skills that convert poise into sheer damage. He also offers the utility of Pierce Fragility for teams that can abuse it. Unfortunately, when he runs out of bullets, he retreats and buffs his duo partner's skills instead. He can come back with more bullets, but that requires a fair bit of wang jangling to get a valid retreat strategy going, especially where you'd expect to run him. Regardless, if you just want a delete button for trash, or just a huge chunk of damage up front, this Heathcliff is at least of moderate priority. He becomes high priority, however, if you get his duo partner. Full Stop Honglu is a rather solid Hongers that offers some upfront damage and hands-off poise. His main gimmick, however, is to interact directly with Heathcliff to call for backup shots and assist attacks. These are always Heathcliff's skill 2, which burns a bullet for some relatively decent damage. This does reduce the time Heathcliff is on field in return for all that damage, however. Aside from that, he is an ammo ID that can keep fighting even when he runs out of ammo, and when Heathcliff retreats, his skill 2 and skill 3 get an extra coin to abuse. Moderate priority if you don't have Heathcliff, high priority if you do. Using them as a pair is highly recommended. The 6th Walpurgis Knight. I'll be exceedingly brief with this one if possible. The bot me E.G.O, the sword sharpened with tears, Rodya, is one of the single most broken units in the game. She solves sinking, deals such a ridiculous amount of raw damage, and otherwise does literally everything for you, provided you hit the counter button a single time and get her into a negative state. There are few Rodyas as consistently strong as this. Arguably the new Nurse Father, but even that is still arguable. She is one of the highest priorities in any WoW for any new player. The bot me E.G.O in the name of Love and Hate's Don Quixote is one of the most fan-servicey IDs that hits like a fucking truck. If you like Envy and enjoy turning your brain off, she is ungodly strong. Hits like a truck, stupid consistent, and unfortunately has really long skill animations due to the fan-servicey nature of it all. If you like the magical girls, grab her. If you want to chew on the purple crayon, grab her. If you just wanted to goon to Don Fies, grab her. You get the idea. High priority, if only for being such a ridiculously hard-hitting hammer. In the name of Love and Hate, Don Quixote is an E.G.O that just boosts all of the magical girl's capabilities. While also usable in Envy Charge, most of the stronger buffs are all for the magical girl. This is high priority if you have her, relatively low if you don't. As for how strong the buff is, she gets an extra skill free. That in itself is already completely broken, let alone all the other baseline benefits on offer, like turboing her engine or offering up to 25% extra damage on charge skills based on potency. This thing is a long-term plan and will help Don destroy a vast majority of encounters. Again though, the price to pay is watching and staring at the animation every time, because like the ID, the animation's bloody long. The 7th Walpurgis. When I started doing Limbus Company content. Good old Hanafuda days. We've got 2 general reception fixers and yeah, that's it. Young office representative Ishmael isn't the highest priority out there, but is certainly fun as all hell to use. If you want to play Koi Koi inside of your Limbus Company, be my guest. He is one of the easier to use MD solos and otherwise provides the rising combination of tremor and sinking. Her claim to fame is Kolzan, which is a 5-coiner you get for playing her minigame right. Otherwise, she's a little prone to bricking if you don't have E.G.Os in the right sin affinities to bandage stuff. The play patterns can get very annoying, so go watch the first Limbus video on my channel for the rundown. Moderate priority, maybe high if you just need a good all-rounder that can slot into many teams. Night Owl's Capitano Gregor is a single-target Pierce, Bleed, and Tremor Savant. While Tremor Hemorrhage doesn't have as much support yet, this fella can still offer decent enough damage and utility in his assist attack spam and bind. While not quite there in terms of power compared to many of the rest of WoWPP's offerings, he serves a niche that pretty much no one else fills. Never mind. And Corporoshu can do most of what he does. Not necessarily better, but still to a more potentially consistent degree. It's kind of sad. You can of course field both at once, but due to the instability of Bleed and the single target restrictions of Gregor here, it doesn't feel particularly amazing to use. I would place this fella unfortunately at low priority. Now for the 8th Walpurgis, the Dusk of Amber. Finally back to 2 IDs and an E.G.O. Not that we were gone for very long. The bot me E.G.O Hornet's Alteration Merceau is a trench sweeper. He has attack weights on half his skills and spreads around spores like a motherfucker. These help with burn infliction and stability to a rather extreme extent, while his kit also offers some burn activations to capitalize on them. He is the best friend of many a burn count hungry ID. Rather those to come soon that are going to activate burn constantly. I would actually place this guy quite high priority, if only for enabling more degenerate pure burn strategies. From what we know of the upcoming IDs, he would partner quite well with them, if one wanted to focus on the burn side of things. Do note that some of his kits is cleanly locked away by on-kill conditions, so mileage will vary, but not by so extreme an amounts that he is unusable. Lobotomy E.G.O, Faint Aroma, and Solitude Ryoshu is a skill-slinging monster. She can casually dump out 4 skills in a turn if certain conditions line up. Her slotted skill, her assist attack, her empty revolver unload, and her pedal skill. It is several levels of absurdity watching this ID do its magic. If you thought Furioso was particularly broken, this one can potentially put that to shame depending on status outgoing. While she doesn't stim either sinking or tremor fantastically, she pays off both by spamming skills downrange and having unique debuffs to throw around like mad. To me, she has become one of the highest priority, and with the inevitable rise of Tremor and Sinking combined, she only rises up higher. If you have Hanafuda, both Solemn Lament Yisangs, and Udjat Otis, she comfortably becomes a 4th member for this agenda. I would give this a very high priority if you missed her last time around. Maybe not for her fits, but definitely for her stupid capabilities. Harmony Sinclair is just a fun E.G.O. It can deal a rather devastating amount of damage due to its reuse conditionals, and has the added benefits of reducing Sinclair's HP right into fell bullet range. Otherwise, past its fantastic awakening, it does offer some baseline benefits in passing around Rhythm for offense level and some solid enough area of effect status application. I like using this thing even if it's not the most practical. Honestly, a moderate priority since I rarely design teams around it. And that's all this time round. Bit longer than last time, I reckon, but that's to be expected with a shifting meta to compare against. Especially this season, as a lot of things have gotten significantly power crept, or otherwise made to look far less powerful compared to the standard fare, well, seasonal fare. That said, if you enjoyed the video, toss a like, and if you want to see the breakdown of the new IDs, throw over a subscription, as that'll be coming out tomorrow night after I test and rewrite. As for ongoing events, I'll be attending SmashCon this weekend and doing a solo panel actually. I have a bit less than 30 minutes to cover an introduction to Project Moon as Project Moon if you read. You're more than welcome to drop by and see me live and screaming. Once again though, thanks for tuning in and using me as second monitor content. Appreciate it.